A clip from a Law & Order episode has just gone viral. Law & Order has been on the air, I think, for 150 years at this point. I think Law & Order predates the invention of the television. Law & Order has gotten consistently more and more woke as the culture has gotten more and more woke. There's a scene that's gone viral of a woman being interviewed by cops, and she's been raped. She was raped by a black man, but she doesn't want to prosecute him because of her white privilege.
But Natalie, Jay Watson raped you. You think I forgot? How could I? This entire trial has been an exercise in reminding me.
And this is your chance to do something about it.
I am going to. Believe me. Because I can. I can afford therapy. I have that luxury. And maybe one day I'll be okay. But if that teenager goes to prison, he may not be. Ever. I don't want that. Natalie, wait.
Everyone's making fun of this clip. I don't know why they're making fun of this clip. That seems very accurate to me. That is exactly how liberal white women think. Yes. I think it was Robert Frost who said a liberal is a man who can't take his own side in a quarrel. Absolutely. That's how a lot of liberal white women in New York City would think. Yes, I've been victimized, but the man who victimized me is black and I'm white, and so I must have done something wrong. I must have been asking for it. Even if I wasn't, I've got so much privilege. We can never punish anyone, certainly not if that person is black. You can't punish them. Their great grandparents might have been slaves or something, so we can't punish criminals. If we send that man to prison, he what? He might be reformed. That's the thing that might happen. Of course, the woman, the character is wrong but I actually think the Law & Order episode is pretty accurate on how white liberals talk about race and justice and crime and all that stuff. Of course. Now, in real life, what would happen is this woman would say, no, don't prosecute this man. Or probably the DAs or someone would say, no, don't prosecute him. He's black. He lives in the inner city. We can never hold anyone accountable for crime there. And so he would be released, and then he would immediately rape someone again. And he'd probably do it like 10 or 20 more times. And then maybe he'd go to prison for about 5 minutes, but then he'd get out on parole and he'd go do it a bunch more times too. That's what would really happen. So it wouldn't help anyone. If he were punished, there's a chance he might be reformed. I know people who've gone to prison for more serious crimes than that, actually, and who have been reformed and lived good lives. So you can do it. It's called a correctional facility. The point is to correct you. But what we're told now by the libs is the complete opposite. What we're told now by the libs is that if you're held responsible for your crimes, it will destroy your life. And if you're not held responsible, you'll somehow magically clean up. Of course, that is not the case. But that is an accurate reflection of the culture. Good job. Good job, Law & Order. You got it right. A Rhode Island school board has just made an audacious claim that would make all of our founding fathers roll over in their graves, which is that parents should not be notified of their children's sexual behavior in schools.
I don't think parents should be notified, simply because society assumes that every child has a well-meaning family culture that is accepting of this. Sometimes the worst thing you can do is involve a parent in some of these issues based on their own beliefs and their own culture. And
put a pause right there. Sometimes the worst thing you can do is involve a parent in some of these decisions based on that parent's own belief and culture. So she's speaking very vaguely here. She doesn't quite express that she's talking about LGBTQ issues until a little bit later. But that view is very, very popular among the liberals. And it's at least an admission that there's a difference between the culture of the public school, culture meaning like to cultivate, like how your kid is going to be raised. There's a difference between that culture and the culture that many parents have at home. There's a big difference between the beliefs being pushed in public schools where your children are being indoctrinated by these beliefs and the beliefs held by those kids' families. There's a big difference here, and when a conflict arises, they're going to go with their own beliefs and they're going to override the beliefs of parents. Keep going.
Will cause that student to commit suicide.
And there it is. Put a pause right there again. This is the second thing we hear, especially in the debate. We hear, if you don't side with the liberals, if you don't suppress the conservative beliefs, the traditional beliefs, your kid's going to kill himself. The worst kind of emotional manipulation I've ever heard, but it's effective. Even me, I'm pretty immune to this. God forbid I ever heard this from a teacher or something. I don't think I would, for reasons that we'll get to in just a moment. But if I did, that would scare the daylights out of me. I would have to take up and say, am I totally wrong? Should I totally cave on my beliefs? I don't. You've threatened me with the scariest thing I can imagine. And that's what they do. They say, yes, you got to side with us. You can't ever side with the parents. If you side with the parents, you're going to kill a kid. Keep going.
If you tell a student who's trusted you, who has come out to say that I'm lesbian, and you now go back and tell the parent that child has no faith in that school system ever again and will never come forward with any information. And his second recommendation, or the third recommendation...
Put a pause. This is a little subtle point, but she says, and if that student says she's a lesbian. But that's not really what we're talking about here, is it? When we talk about LGBTQ, LMNOP, we're not talking about the 16-year-old girl who, kisses a girl at a party after Truth and Dare and thinks she's a lesbian for 3 days. That's the most anodyne version of it, which is why this is what this manipulative liberal woman is doing. She won't say what we're really talking about, which is homosexual men who engage in far riskier behaviors than lesbians. And we won't talk about the real thing that everyone's talking about, which is... When you send your kids to a public school today, you are signing that kid up for the possibility of having his genitals chopped off. Simple as. Not being hyperbolic, not being provocative just for the sake of doing so. That's what they think. That's what the liberal schools think. That's what the broader liberal culture thinks. That's what the federal government thinks, is that that's just who they are. If he's a boy and he thinks he's a girl, that's just who he is. And the schools and the government institutions have a right and a responsibility to keep that information from the parents, to hide this information from the parents, and to encourage the kids to harm themselves. That's what they're all saying out in public. You can't say you weren't warned. And we all saw this during COVID too. That's what it means today. Maybe you went to public school. I went to public school. Doesn't mean what it used to mean. That's what it means today. They're telling you that risk. When they tell you who they are, you got to believe them. That was a good clip, huh? Now, ring that bell. Subscribe to the Michael Knowles YouTube channel. See you next time.